the DEA is seizing packages full of pure fentanyl to bags full of fentanyl-laced pills. They're finding them hidden in everything from diaper boxes to dog toys.
One pill can kill. One pill, one time, can be lethal.
Close to 2 million pills seized last year. Close to 2,000 pounds of fentanyl confiscated. It's being laced inside everything from counterfeit pills to marijuana. Why are the cartels and sellers putting this in the drugs in the first place?
They are intentionally lacing these counterfeit prescription pills with fentanyl to drive addiction.
We've shown you the faces and the stories behind many of the victims. How often are overdoses happening in our area?
Every 3 hours, someone in our city is dying of an overdose.
Our city?
Our city.
Well, even though we have legal marijuana in New York City, we have an illegal trade that's been going on for quite since the beginning of this, which I've said this this tout to legalize marijuana in New York State has been a failure. You have fentanyl running rampant through New York City. It's lethal. It's lethal because basically, you're getting that mixture now with that animal tranquilizer that they're touting the zombie drug, which is literally flesh-eating people's legs and hands, and there's been several deaths in Philadelphia. There's been amputations of people's limbs because of this drug. I mean, it's eating away, and it has been a danger. And of course, with the illegal trade in the marijuana business, you have the edibles, you have other things that are being sold in smoke shops that are making our kids sick. They're ending up in the hospital ODing on this stuff. They're not supposed to be having this stuff. This is not supposed to be sold to kids. But see, one of the major problems in this situation is the laxness, that they've been laxed in these laws to enforce them, the people that are doing the illegal part of it, especially in the fentanyl trade. And that's this cashless bail bullshit that this governor signed off, that everybody's okay. And now everybody's drawing back, with the exception of the governor, says this is crap. We need to return back to the bail system that we had before. See, the thing about it is, and most people don't realize, is that the reason they did cash bail is they do it as a political activism. They say, people, they shouldn't be jailed for their stuff like that. They should be free. It's society's to blame on that. It's the choices you make. And the thing about it is, a lot of these guys that are getting put in jail and let go are committing more crimes. Some of them have gone from a standard crime to murder, and we've seen this happening. The lawlessness that is going on here in New York and many other states. And we're going to read a little bit into this from the New York Post. But before we start, once again, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share, and most of all, comment. We do really appreciate you clicking on this video and doing all that on all of our social media platforms. And once again, thank you. From the New York Post, New York's Lax Bail law lets lethal fentanyl peddlers off scot-free, DA Ray Turney says. Some of the dealers of the fentanyl are being released back on the streets following their arrest, allowing them to sell more of the highly addictive and dangerous drug thanks to New York Lax Bail law, a top prosecutor grappling with the crisis claims. Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Turney is calling upon Governor Kathy Hochul to make more drug offenses eligible for bail as a way to keep the dealers of the lethal synthetic opioid behind bars. Under New York's 2019 criminal justice reforms, only a Class A felony drug offense are eligible for bail. In New York, we have loopholes a mile wide and drug dealers are taking advantage. Tierney told the Post in a recent interview, our criminal justice laws don't focus enough on crime victims and safety of the community. Tierney is also requesting that Albany pass a death by dealer law to put fentanyl peddlers in prison for a longer period of time. The fentanyl-fueled opioid crisis has been felt accurately in the Big Apple, which seen fatal drug overdoses every 3 hours or 8 per day, according to the Office of Special Narcotics Prosecution for New York City. More than 2,800 New Yorkers died of a drug overdose in the city, the vast majority including fentanyl, over a 12-month span ending in July 2022, according to the most recent data for the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. By comparison, there were 433 homicides in the city last year. Fentanyl, an opioid 50 to 100 times stronger than morphine, was detected in 80% of the drug overdoses deaths in the city in 2021 and was the most common substance involved in fatal ODs for the 5th year in a row. Much of it struggled into the U.S. from the southern border by Mexican drug cartels, Attorney General Merrick Garland said last week. Middle-class Staten Island has been particularly ravaged by the fentanyl scourge, and one lawmaker there supported Tierney's effort to put the accused merchants of death behind bars pending trial. Fentanyl is the most lethal drug of our time. I will fully support legislation that will hold drug dealers accountable and keep them in jail. Assemblyman Sam Pizzolo, a Republican who represents the Mid-Island and eastern portions of the borough, said Sunday. Meanwhile, more than 400 people have died from fentanyl-fueled overdoses in Suffolk in 2021. The Long Island County that year records 32 homicides. Tierney, in a March 3rd letter to Hochul, submitted a list of recommended changes to stiffen the bail law, including making Class B felony drug crimes, such as selling a narcotic, possession and intent to sell, a qualifying offense for a judge to impose bail detention. His proposal changes would have to be approved by the Democratic-run Assembly and Senate, which would have resisted the bail reform. And see, this is the problem. This is the major problem. You know, we have on this end of the world, the Democratic Party, the liberals, the liberal elites, basically want to keep these people out of jail. Yes, that's right. You heard me. They want to keep them out of jail. This is why we have problems at the southern border. You know, they said, well, no, you can't tell people that are bad over there. Understand, what is coming over that border isn't only Mexicans. And this is the thing that gets me every time when I hear stuff about the southern border. They said, well, you know, the Mexican people are good people. Yes, they are. And there are some bad people. But it's not only Mexicans that are coming over that border. We've heard Asians, we've heard Africans, we've heard Middle Eastern. They've all been coming across that border. And it has been a danger. Now that they're mixing the drug with tranquilizers, and you've seen some of the video footage I've shown on this channel. It is disgusting. But the thing about it is, this is what's happening. We are at a situation where the drugs are overtaking our streets, taking over our children's lives. This needs to stop. We need law enforcement on these laws instead of this fucking activism that has been going on, you know, especially from the left. And yeah, and I say it, from the left, and the pussy right on the right that have just bent over and taking it in the ass from the left. And, you know, this is the situation. We need people in, you know, our offices, police, government that are going to do the job. They work for us, not vice versa. Folks, you need to understand this. When we vote, it's like we're hiring them for a job, and that's what it is. And they're not doing their job. You're seeing all this bullshit and all that, violations of the Constitution, violation, that January 6th bullshit that's been going on, that's being now debunked to the whole situation. Not saying that there isn't any guilty people in that situation, but now we're seeing that our own law enforcement, our own FBI has lied in court and has been caught lying in court. We're going to be seeing some mistrials. We're going to see dismissals coming very soon. And this is what we're going to. They're paying attention for a bullshit that they don't like one particular person that's running in politics, or several people that are running in politics, and they want to take them down. But meanwhile, we are overrun by drugs, crime, throughout the city. Folks, this is where your taxpayer dollars are going to. They're going to fund these people and fund wars that we're not supposed to be in. Ukraine, we should not be involved in that. It has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with NATO or any on there. Unless Ukraine becomes a NATO partner, we have no business with that. And the thing about it is, the people that are suffering the most as far as that war are the Russian and the Ukrainian people themselves. Because you have out of control leaders that are just insane. And that's the same thing in this country. We have out of control government leaders that have just lost their God-picking fucking minds and think they're doing good by changing these laws and saying, well, we don't need to put bail on everyone. Well, quote an old song from the great Sammy Davis Jr. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. And that goes the truth. People are committing crimes. They should be, they should pay the penalty. Whether it's a big ticket onto them, that they get a ticket, fine, or spend time in jail. There's a time and a place for a ticket, and then there's a time and a place where someone should be going to jail. Especially a lot of these guys have gone to jail and they have a record a mile long for various crimes. That's the thing about it is, if there are people out there who are wanted for, massive amount of shoplifting, theft, assault, murder, if they've done this, they should spend more time in jail because they haven't learned anything. So tell me in the comments below your thoughts. This is a major situation, folks. This is a major situation. We have a drug on our streets that's killing everyone that uses it, one way or another. And with an addition to what they've added to it, seeing what we've seen so far, it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. So comment, subscribe, like, share, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye now.